Oh, testing, testing. Okay, welcome, boys, and let's get started on this chapter. Now, in this chapter, we are going to talk about ADAS, aggregate demand and aggregate supply, right here. Okay, now this is a very, very important chapter. Okay, so make sure you really spend the time on understanding the concepts we are going to talk about in maybe the 6 parts videos. Okay, now obviously this is going to be a very long chapter. I'm going to break down the videos into around 6 videos, so let's get right into it. Okay, now the first video today, in this one, we are going to talk about the definition and appearance of AD first. So let's get started. Now here on page 1, now before we talk about AD and AS, now there are something that we need to know. Now first of all, we need to distinguish between ADAS and demand supply. Okay, now you see, AD stands for aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, what are the common things among aggregate demand and aggregate supply? Now, in fact, the only common thing is that they have the name demand and supply. 嗱冇㗎啦，除咗 demand 同 supply 個名一樣之外，其他嘢完全唔一樣㗎。Okay, now here you see in my table, when we talk about demand and supply, we were talking about a market for one product only. Now, for example, right now when we talk about the market for mask 口罩啦， we say because of the virus, the demand for mask increases, but we only talk about mask. 係咪？我哋淨係講一個市場啫，係咪啊？ Mask, for example. Now, but when we talk about ADAS, we are not just talking about mask, but we are talking about the whole of economy. For example, we say because of the virus, right? Hong Kong, the Hong Kong people do not, let's say, reduce their consumption, right? So we say that AD has decreased. 冇乜消費意欲啊，係咪啊？嗱 we're talking about the whole economy, not just one product. Okay. Another thing, in demand supply, we call it P and Q, right? Price and quantity. But in ADAS, remember, we call it price level and output level. 嗱，好重要呢個字，唔好漏 level 啊。If you leave out level in your answer, you get -1. 嗱，好大件事㗎，因為係錯 concept 㗎。Now, in demand supply, we also talk about when there are some disequilibrium, right? Shortage, surplus. But in our ADAS, we don't have anything, the so-called disequilibrium. We only have something we call inflationary gap and deflationary gap. Okay? We are talking about when long run and short run equilibrium does not match each other. 係咪啊？當佢哋唔對嘅時候啊，我哋唔係講 disequilibrium， 冇嘅，冇 disequilibrium 㗎，只有唔同嘅 equilibrium。兩個 equilibrium 唔對等。When the two equilibria do not match with each other. Okay? So that is the differences. Now, let's move on to AD. Okay? Now, basically, AD, the same as the thing you learned. Remember, demand curve, like this, right? This is our AD. Basically, the concept is just the same. We are talking about a plan it is a plan showing the relationship between price level and output level, right? Aggregate output demanded. 同你 demand 一樣啫嘛。In demand, we talk about price and QD. Here, we talk about price level and AQD. Basically the same. So what is AQD? Almost the same as QD. Okay? It's a planned real output demanded by economy at a particular price level. 嗱，好重要啦，某一個 price level. So, what do we mean? This whole curve, okay? This whole curve, the whole curve is our AD. And a point on this AD curve is our AQD. 其實同你 demand supply 一樣啫嘛，係咪啊？ When we talk about demand, the whole curve is the demand, but one point is only the QD, right? Same here. 嗱，咁我唔嘥時間你呢個。The more important thing is that how do we know how much an economy has demanded, okay, the planned real output demanded at a particular price level? Well, in fact, we have learned it already. Now, in GDP, remember, the way we look at how much we have make, 係嘛？我哋做到幾多 how much we have produced is by looking at how much we have spent。咁啊，我哋睇下我哋使咗幾，窒機添。我哋睇下我哋使咗幾多錢咪知咯，係咪啊？嗱 here CIGNX, this is our expenditure approach， 記唔記得啊？ This is our expenditure approach. We use our expenditure to see how much we have spent. OK？ 喂，你使咗幾多？即係咩意思啊？即係你願意買幾多咯？如果唔係，你點會使咗啲錢啊？係咪？ If you're not willing and able to buy, how come you have spent it? So if you have spent the money, then you are willing and able, right? Now, remember we are talking about output level, right? Output 我哋係講緊個數量啊嘛。Now therefore, we don't just look at the nominal, we look at the real CIGNX. Because real, then we are talking about quantity, but not the money itself. Now, but here, when we talk about AQD, because now realistically 喺個社會啦，只會得一個物價水平噶嘛。But we are talking about a curve at different price levels， 係嘛？我哋真正嘅社會得一個物價水平，但係我哋而家係想睇晒咁多物價水平喎。Therefore, this is only a plan. Okay, AQD equals to planned real CIGNX. Now, if you really do not understand what is going on, it's okay. Think in this way. Okay, number one, a change in real GDP would necessarily means that there is a change in AD. Okay, now this is the first point. 記住啦，如果 real GDP 有轉變 ，AD 就有轉變㗎啦。Okay, as simple as that. But also remember, second, you cannot say real GDP is the same as AD. No, you cannot say that. Or AQD. No, they are not the same. 佢哋唔 exactly 一樣嘅，得唔得啊？嗱 ，so remember, in exam, don't write this. Don't say real GDP equals to AD or equals to AQD. But you can say a change in real GDP would means a change in AD because according to this formula. OK， 得唔得啊？嗱，就係咁嘅意思啦。OK, so this is the definitions. Now, this is not exactly too important. Let me be really honest with you. OK, now what's important is the next page. Now we need to know now this page. You need to recite. 你要背咗佢啊，得唔得啊 ？Whole page 唔使諗啦。The whole page you need to recite. You need to explain why AD curve is downward sloping. OK， 咪咩 downward sloping 啊？頭先咪畫咗一次咯。Meaning AD looks like this, downward sloping, right? This is price level. This is why. OK, now we need to explain. Now this time, please do not say because of the law of demand. 嗱，你試下咁寫咧，你死緊㗎。OK， no, you cannot use the law of demand. 你咁咪叫 law of aggregate demand? No. OK, in exam, no. Now, downward sloping, what does that mean? It means higher the price level, lower the AQD, other things being constant. OK， 好熟口面啦。This looks exactly like the law of demand, except we are talking about price level and AQD. OK， 得唔得？同一個道理嘅啫。Now, in exam, we need to explain why it is downward sloping. 咁點解佢向下斜嘅 ？OK， now this is the important part. OK， now we have 3 reasons in your syllabus that you need to remember. All 3 of them, not 1, not 2, but all 3. 全部要背晒佢，得唔得？ Now, first one, we call it the wealth effect. Now, wealth effect. Let me tell you some story, and then you know. 我哋又講故仔啦。Now, let's say we want to buy mask， 好嘛？嗱，好啦，口罩啦 ，mask used to be Okay, let's say it used to be yes $25 per box， 每盒25蚊啦。Okay, now assuming your income remains constant at 100， 100蚊啦。It means how many boxes can you get? You can get, okay, you can get 4 boxes. 你係咪買到4盒啊？ Now, unfortunately, because of the outbreak of virus, it becomes 100. 突然之間變咗100蚊喎，係嘛？ Now, you see what happens here? Price level increases. 貴咗嘛？ Price level increases. Now, when your income is constant at 100, how many boxes can you buy? Now, realistically speaking, you can only buy 1 box. Therefore, you see, our output level will drop, right? 見唔見啊？ So this is the story. When price level increases, output level decreases. This is our wealth effect. So, how should we put it into English? Okay, into English that we can write in exam. We say this way. When income is constant, higher price levels means lower quantity of product being bought. 係咪啊？ Or if you like, lower real purchasing power. Right? So, to make it short, price level increases, our purchasing power decreases. Now, therefore, our C would decreases. C decreases, meaning AQD decrease. Right? 嗱，見唔見啊 ？Price level 行頭 ，AQT 跌。Okay, so this is how we explain the downward sloping. Okay, now this is the first effect. Now, let us talk about second effect. Now, second effect, let's jump to this one. Now, net export effect, we can look at it from 2 perspectives. Again, it starts with price level being higher. Okay, now, locally speaking, okay, I think, no, actually, okay, to foreigners, because our product, 我哋啲嘢貴咗 our product becomes higher in price. 我哋啲嘢貴咗，係咪人哋會買少咗啊？ From foreigners, QD would decrease. 即係人哋唔買咁多嘢，即係咩意思啊 ？Meaning export would decrease. Export would decrease. This is on one hand. On another hand, 另一邊啊 Now, what happens? 我哋啲嘢貴咗 ，local QD for import。喂，我自己本地啲嘢貴咗，咁我買邊度啲嘢？買外國嘢咯。Okay, so import increases and would increase. Now, what does that mean? Together, they mean our NX would decrease. When NX decrease, it means that AQD would decreases. 見唔見啊 ？Price level increase, AQD decreases. We call this the net export effect. 得唔得？我啲嘢貴咗，所以人哋買少咗我嘅嘢 ，export 少咗。我啲嘢貴咗，所以本地人買少咗我哋嘅嘢，買多咗人哋嘅嘢。點解 ？Substitute 啊嘛，係咪啊 ？Substitute local product and foreign products being substitutes, right? Now, therefore, export decrease, import increase, NX decrease, meaning our AQD decrease because of price level increase. Okay, now, final one, we call it the interest rate effect. Okay, now the interest rate effect, what is that? Remember, just now we have this story. Now let's forget about this story and make it more extreme. Again, mask. This is 100, right? 100蚊. Now, our income also 100. Now, meaning, now you can buy it. Now, what happens if the mask becomes like this? 500蚊. 嗱，但係我人工係得咁多啫噃，我得咁多錢啫喎。Can I buy the mask? No. But I need the masks. 我要嗰啲口罩喎。咁點算啊？ People would actually borrow money in order, let's say, borrow 400. Okay? Now, the key point here being they need to borrow. 要借錢啦，得唔得？ Now, so what happens? Now, when price level increases, okay, people, what would they do? They would want to borrow. 佢哋想借錢嘅意欲係咪大咗啊？冇辦法，呢啲嘢太貴啊。Okay, because the things are too expensive. Therefore, their desire to borrow would increases, right? 係咪啊？啲嘢喂貴咗好多，我要借錢冇辦法啦。What does that mean? It means that when more people, now think about it, banks, when you know people, they want to borrow more, what would you do? 喂，啲人好多人想嚟借錢，咁你要點啊？ You will push up the interest rates. 多人借錢，梗係乘機坐地起價啦。係嘛？ Now, it also means the cost of borrowing would increase. Now, therefore, eventually, our so-called consumption would decrease. Now, eventually, okay, let me write clearly. Eventually, our C would decreases, which means our AQD would decreases. 你見唔見啊？ Price level increase, AQD decreases. Now this one, I need you to be very careful with this one. When we talk about price level increases, AQD decreases. Now, because later in our next video, when we talk about factors affecting, 係咪？當我哋講啦。 Factors affecting the shift. How come the curve will shift left and right? We are going to talk about interest rate again. But at that time, we are not starting with price level. 嗱，即係咩意思啊？ You see, these three effects, the same starting point, always starting with price level increase. 係因為物價水平上升咗，導致一啲效果。OK， 得唔得啊？ And later on, what if price level is not the first to change? Then what happens? Then what happens is we are not talking about downward sloping, but we are talking about the shift in the AD curve. Okay, so the three reasons 嚟多次啦 wealth effect because of real purchasing power, net export effect, my things becomes more expensive. People from foreign would not want it, and I would want more foreign products because to substitute our local expensive product. NX decreases, AQD decreases, and finally interest rate effect because of price level increase. People will want to borrow more. Once the banks know that, they will push up the interest rate, and eventually the AQD would decreases. Okay, these are the three reasons why AD curve is downward sloping. Okay, 好嘛？嗱 so you may be asking, are these important? Yes, graphically. AD, downward sloping. Okay, now remember, this is Y, this is our price level. Okay, Y, sometimes we will call it output, or sometimes you see real income, etc. Many names, but we abbreviate as Y. OK， 有好多唔同嘅名嘅，遲啲做 exercise 你就知㗎啦。OK， graphically just like this. Now, in exam, in fact, they have asked one time. OK, in sample paper, give 2 reasons why AD downward sloping, 6 marks. 2013, give 1 reason why AD curve is downward sloping. OK， 嗱，所以係會問㗎。OK， 嗱 you see 2 reasons, 1 reason. Next time, maybe they can. Now, let's say 2021. They want to be tricky. You need to explain why AD is downward sloping using interest rate effect. 嗱，佢可以咁做㗎。OK， they can say clearly specify which effect. 佢係可以咁做㗎。So don't try your luck. Don't say, hey, 最多咪出一兩個。So I only recite, let's say, only the first one and third one, since the second one is quite difficult, right? No, you cannot do that. EAA can always specify which one to explain. Okay, 嗱，咁我唔抄啦。This one you just copy from your notes. Okay, so that would be our first video on the definitions and how come AD is downward sloping. Okay, so next one we are going to talk about factors affecting AD. So see you again in next video. Bye bye.